King Cayne.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Alright, so I remember a few months ago I started posting videos about career advice. You might earn way more than that if you didn't have this particular thing on your resume. So you'll give us some bread. Because I am a career coach, notice the business, pitch, play code. The whole concept is business is a game, and we teach people how to play. You don't know it? Now you do. Go check it out. Support us on social media, by the way. I remember doing that video. It was fun to do, so let's go ahead and do that again. I pulled up the Reddit thread where I found the old career advice. I haven't read this post yet, but I believe it's quite lengthy, so it might be good enough to get a lot of gems out of it. So man, let's go ahead and do it. Not sure what to do. All right, let's check this one out. Let's look it up, hold on. All right, won't say what job title is or company in a public post, obviously, but I have a very demanding office job. I'm often finding myself working late at night or on weekends, sacrificing time with my loved ones to get as much work done as possible. I routinely pick up the slack of my coworkers as well. I regularly have about 50 open matters happening at once. I received an email the other day from my supervisor reprimanding me for my poor performance, not meeting deadlines, not immediately completing tasks from the C-level exec that heads my department. I do and work past midnights on days I'm given so much work to make sure it's done, and for not having my camera on during calls during a time I was sick and the supervisor knew I was sick. This isn't the first time this has occurred, and this latest instance just completely took the wind out of my sails, and I totally lost any motivation towards the job. It makes sense. Between this and how I'm spoken to disrespectfully or so this says curtly? Hey, y'all, look, when you don't know something, look it up. Don't be like me. Don't just keep trying, man. Let's figure this out. I write speeches, so this will be good. In a court matter. See, my wife is the languager in the family. I mean, rudely, but I've never heard this word before. Courtly, I'm assuming. Let me see. Between this and how I'm spoken to disrespectfully or courtly, I think, like I'm a problem child, I just can't put up with it anymore. I'm given no grace. I had 2 surgeries in the past year and rushed back to work so I wouldn't miss more work, and I'm still getting this treatment. I also have a medical condition that qualifies me as a disability per the ADA, and whenever I need to take time for an appointment or procedure, I get treated with that. So, courtness, or curtness. I don't know. I mentioned before, how dare I make the specialist schedule not line up with your random Teams call? Needless to say, I'm very upset at my work and not sure how to proceed. I'm looking for other options right now to give myself a soft landing should the worst happen. Okay, this is really good. First off, we're learning something like new words. Second off, I don't want to read the response. Let's just break this down paragraph by paragraph and just kind of talk about from my experience from the clients that I've supported how we can help this particular individual. It's extremely difficult to give tailored advice when we don't know the industry or the title or level of this particular person. What I can decipher from what we read is it's clearly a salary role. I'm just team calls, like I'm assuming it's like a tech job if I'm being honest. If not, it's probably a small, if it's not tech, it's something not super demanding. It's clearly not a blue collar job. I'm assuming it's a smaller company because it sounds like a startup culture. That's you're dealing with C-level executive people on a regular. You have a supervisor, but not a director or a manager or something like that. It's not a very large company. I'm just going to make an assumption. Of course, I don't know. And I regularly have about 50 open matters happening at once. When you see a lot of work kind of just thrown onto someone's plate, and it's not a and you're dealing with a C-level executive person like that, typically it's usually a smaller company. I know I've seen plenty of people in this situation. Unfortunately, people like this are extremely important to the company, and the company probably doesn't make a lot of money or probably doesn't pay out a lot of money to these extremely important people. Even if they did, sometimes when you're dealing with this type of disrespect from your manager or supervisor, then usually it's money doesn't even matter. I mean, they're going in about their supervisor. They're being upset for them not being on camera. Dude, it just sounds like tech to me. I mean, other industries probably have this problem, but it does kind of sound like tech to me. They don't like how they're spoken to. They work super hard. They're not getting the credit that they deserve. Man, this is pretty tough. And did we read this where they say they pick up the slack for their coworkers, or did I infer that? I'm looking for other options right now to give myself a soft landing should the worst happen. So I'm also going to assume that they probably believe that if their performance doesn't pick up, or if their supervisor isn't happy, then they're probably going to get let go. Okay, we're going to do what we did in the other video, and let's kind of just type this out as we kind of talk it out loud. So this first sentence, or the first thing that I'm going to say, is not an easy one. It's not an easy thing to say, but for the most part, you're usually given a lot of signs that it is time for you to get another job. And this person has been giving a ton of signs. So let me before I explain why I'm saying both 1 and 2, let me talk about 1 first. So number 1, the reason it's probably time to have an uncomfortable conversation with your direct supervisor is probably because we went to the internet to look for advice. As a career coach, I usually get clients that are fed up or on their last straw, and then they come to me and look for advice. They're usually not proactive, and usually very reactive, meaning that the disrespect that happens, the emails that come out of nowhere, the feeling unappreciated, those type of things usually happen reactively, meaning you're just kind of responding to what's happening. Having a very uncomfortable conversation with your direct supervisor usually I see gives you a lot more clarity when you're proactive. And what I mean by that is make a very, very well thought out, very well thought out list of accomplishments and achievements that you've made during your time in this role. Say, this is what I brought to the company, X, Y, and Z. This is how I feel when blah, blah, blah happens, which makes these things harder for me to do. And I would appreciate you as my direct supervisor, because it's their job to make sure that you continue to make those accomplishments happen. This is what I need from you to help me be successful in my role. extremely uncomfortable. One, it's uncomfortable because this person is saying that they're usually treated disrespectfully. And it doesn't appear that their supervisor appreciates their hard work or appreciates what they do. Now, the reason we're going to be uncomfortable in this conversation is because I'm listing the accomplishments that I see, but the supervisor has a different perspective and a different lens. That perspective and lens of that supervisor, you're going to hear it in that uncomfortable conversation. So you're going to list out the pros, they're most likely going to list out the cons, and you're going to have to find a middle ground to see if their feedback is correct or if it's unfair criticism. And then the supervisor's job, which you can't control, they're going to have to either say, you know what, you have been doing those things and I appreciate it, but either I didn't ask you to do those things, can you do these things instead? Or, wow, I didn't even realize that you did do that, et cetera, et cetera. Either way, it's not fun to do, but it is very necessary before moving on to number 2, which is just keeping your head down and begin to look for a new role. I usually like to do both. I usually like to go to number 1 first and then move on to number 2, have that uncomfortable conversation first, and then go on to number 2, but let's just stick with number 1. Trying to think, because we don't know this person's role or any, they didn't give us much to go off, but we'll just start there. The reason I'm saying to think of those things is usually you start to it's like a domino effect, like data being like, oh, I've helped increase the company's sales by 5%. That number may seem small, but if you're $1 billion company, what's 5% of $1 billion? That's a lot of money. Small wins could be like onboarding that one client that referred 10 clients. Big wins could be something simple like, sorry, y'all, my little one is moving a lot. Big wins could be something like, creating a new automation tool or whatever to create that one simple thing. You guys get the picture. It all depends on the industry that you're in. I have no idea what this person does. Then, make a list of all of the feedback that you received from your supervisor. Schedule a call whether you agree or not. Whether you agree or not. This helps put you into the mind of your supervisor. Okay. So I like doing this. I'm thinking like back when I was working, I had some people I didn't necessarily agree with, but I knew what they thought of me. It was easier for me to get into their mind because I heard all their feedback. I saw a list of everything I did and I saw what they said. It makes life a lot easier. Okay. Schedule a call or wait until your one-on-one. No. Be proactive. Be proactive and schedule a call with your supervisor to share what you've accomplished. I hear us snoring. What you've accomplished and discuss how of what you accomplished, Let's say this, of what you accomplish, how you're working on the feedback you receive. Honestly, if we're talking about like an order, if you were to do this in a certain order, probably talking about how you're working on the feedback you receive is actually smarter than sharing what you accomplish. Because it's called your supervisor to share how you're working on the feedback you receive, what you've accomplished, and what you need to make your job easier. This isn't fun, but it is so necessary because it helps you psychologically kind of breathe a little bit, because you're just like getting it out there. You're telling the person exactly how you feel professionally, right? And you're giving them an opportunity to either say, hey, I care about what you think, or I don't. Either way, you have your answer on what you need to do. This helps make a final determination of whether your manager is looking to create a successful environment for you, or if they're not concerned about the success of your career. I've had those conversations with people where I thought like, okay, this person doesn't care, and they're not going to care. So what's the point of telling them? That's what I thought. And then I go into the conversation and I hear their perspective, and like, they're like, wow, I didn't know you thought this. I'm proud of you for doing this. This is how I think, et cetera, et cetera. It's very uncomfortable, but once that air kind of gets, let out from both sides, you are able to kind of work through disagreements a little bit easier. But I've had that happen, and then eventually I still ended up quitting because I didn't feel like the job was right for me. Sometimes we blame the person and not the job itself. So it's good to have that uncomfortable conversation with your direct supervisor first. So I would say by doing the first option, you would know if it's time to choose option number 2, and lucky for you, this is, and lucky for you, and lucky for you. Yeah, I hear she's going off. Lucky for you, the steps in option 1. The steps are what you will need to do to prep for searching for a new role. So you do number 1, right? You sit down and make a list of all the accomplishments that you made during your time in a role. That's what you're going to have to do anyway if you need to build your resume, right? You need an accurate account of everything you've done. This is usually the hardest thing for people to do, because if you think about it, you probably forgot a lot of the things that you've accomplished so far, and just in your life in general. Just think about it like this: you work a job for 5 years and you don't build your resume for 5 years. Can you remember everything you've accomplished in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4? You're probably struggling in this year alone, in year 5 alone. A lot of industries change, so your job kind of changes. Your job is a little fluid. Your responsibilities are fluid. But there are some jobs that still require what you did 4 or 5 years ago, but you probably forgot that you even did it. It's not that you forgot how to do it. You just forgot that particular line item, so you didn't include it on your resume, and that might hurt you from your job. So to build your resume, you need an accurate account of everything you've done, and you updated that by speaking to your supervisor. Let me add something to number 1. Well, no. Let's keep going. So let's see. Be proactive and schedule. Okay. The never, I would say this strongly, never mention that you're looking for a new role if the conversation does not go well. There is no real harm with your honesty, but everyone is not your friend. Never forget that. Some managers be like, okay, I get it, you want to leave, I'll write you a letter of recommendation, let me know if you need help, etc., etc. Some managers going to be like, oh, okay, bet, I'm going to make your life so hell up until you leave that if you never leave, I just want you to know I don't like you. I don't know why people are like this. Don't ask me. I was not that type of manager. I'm not that type of leader. People are like this. So, let's avoid giving them any ammo. Never mention that you're looking. Okay? Also, make a list of pros and cons with your current role to know what you absolutely need. Baby. Absolutely need. And absolutely will not accept in your next role. See, like I said, I can't give really tailored advice because I don't know the industry, I don't know the position, I don't even know, it's a lot of things we don't know about this person, but making a list of pros and cons with your current role will let you know that, okay, I did like these things about my job and I need those things in my next job, but I won't tolerate this or that because I know those things do not contribute to my happiness or success. Okay. Lastly, I would say, please seek a career coach that you can trust and rely on to give you tailored advice. Okay, not ChatGPT, not any random person on LinkedIn. The reason I would highly suggest these things, she should go to Pitch Play. They I don't know if this is a woman or a male, but they should go to pitchplayco.com/coaching. But the reason these things are very, very good to do, finding a career coach that can give you tailored advice, is because I help a lot of people, but when I have someone that's trying to be an entrepreneur or that is an entrepreneur, the advice that I give that person is a million times better than the advice I would give someone who's trying to go into, industrial engineering or something like that. Like I have some clients like that. I can give them really good advice about how to brand themselves and update their portfolio. But if I was in the industrial engineering industry, it'd be so much easier for me to say, you need to talk to this person, that person, et cetera, et cetera. As I get more clients, I'm able to do that. But if we're talking entrepreneurship, I know what it takes to build a business from the ground up. Therefore, you should probably talk to me if you're a young entrepreneur or early stage entrepreneur. So I will say, lastly, I'm sorry that you're going through a tough time at work. I know more than anyone how stressful that can be. But I also know that you can and will see better days. Keep going. Don't stop. So, listen, I think this is easy advice to see. It's not like it's tough because I'm writing something, so it's not like it's the most perfect solution. But that's why I think a career coach would be better in this situation. But if you're going through those tough times with a difficult supervisor, have that real conversation with that individual. Lastly, after you've had that difficult conversation, make sure that you take every single note and detail from that conversation, take that to your career coach, and have them support you on your journey moving forward. Y'all can see the sleepy babies all tired, and I don't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to get on here and continue the career advice series that I was doing a few months ago. See if anyone likes it, see if it works. Listen, I'm out of here. Y'all take it easy and God bless.